May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Moshe was a good man. He loved his family, and he did everything he could to provide for them. He made sure that they were safe and well cared for. And every Friday afternoon, Moshe, who did so much for his family and everyone else around him, would do this one simple thing just for himself. He would take a walk in the woods on his way home for Shabbat. This was the time when Moshe felt the closest to God. He loved being in nature. He would go outside, and he would see the beauty in the woods, and he would hear the birds chirping, and he would breathe deeply of the fresh air. And this was the time when Moshe really, really enjoyed being in God's world. And this particular Friday afternoon, Moshe was wandering in the woods, and he heard a little melody. He'd never heard it before. He didn't know quite what it was, and he wanted to find it. He wanted to hear this melody and learn it. So he wandered left, and he wandered right, and he kept going until eventually he got closer to this sound. And he said, "This is the most beautiful sound that I've ever heard." And it was so beautiful that he just had to stop and listen to it. And it went, I get doom body die, I get diggy diggy die, I get doom body die, I get diggy diggy die. And Moshe kept wandering, kept going through the woods, and he was trying to get closer to this song, this beautiful melody. And finally he got to this grassy spot, and it was open, and this was where he could hear this nigun, this melody, the most clearly. And he heard it, and it said, I get diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy 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 die, I get diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy 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 die. And it was so beautiful. Moshe was wandering left and right, and he didn't know which way was up and down, and he certainly didn't know if he was going deeper into the forest or if it was the way back home. But he heard this sound, and he just kept humming it to himself. And finally he found this grassy spot where it was so clear, and he stood there and sang it all night long. And he was all alone in the dark, humming this melody. I get doom body die, I get diggy diggy die, I get doom body die, I get diggy diggy die. And Moshe swayed and closed his eyes a little bit, and this is the closest that he'd ever felt to God. And he sat there all night long, and eventually, in the morning, he was able to find his way out of the woods. And he walked to the field that was just outside of his village, and he looked down and he saw his wife, Rebecca, and his son, Benjamin, standing there, pointing up and they started running towards him as he ran back down the street to them. And they said, "Moshe, where have you been? We were so worried. We've been waiting for you for dinner. Where did you go?" And Moshe wanted to tell them all about his experience in the woods and tell them how he got lost and he couldn't find his way and he heard this beautiful melody. But all he could do was sing, I get doom ba-dee die, I get diggy diggy die. And Rebecca was confused. What was Moshe trying to tell her with this melody? And Benjamin, he wanted to tell his father all about starting Shabbat, about lighting the candles and eating the challah. But Moshe, every time he tried, Moshe would just sing this song. I get diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy 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 die. And Rebecca and Benjamin, they were so confused and they would just try to talk to Moshe, and every time they tried, all he could do was sing, I get doom ba-dee die, I get diggy diggy die. And finally, Rebecca was at her wit's end. She couldn't talk to her husband. They never shared any words, and Benjamin couldn't talk to his father, and Rebecca said, "That's enough. I'm taking you to the doctor." And so she took him to the doctor, and she said, "Doctor, I don't know what to do. All he can do is sing this song. He hasn't spoken since Saturday when he came out of the woods. All he does is hum this melody." And the doctor tried to ask Moshe what was wrong. And the doctor listened to his heart and his breathing, and she tried to find something, anything. But all Moshe could do was hum this song. I get doom ba-dee die, I get diggy diggy die. And eventually the doctor looked at Rebecca and said, "I'm not sure how to help Moshe, but I know a specialist in the next town over, and maybe they can help him." And so she told Rebecca to send Moshe to the next town over to this doctor. And so Rebecca took Moshe home, and she packed a bag for him, and she prepared to send him to this next town. And Benjamin, wanting to say goodbye to his dad, he stood at the door holding it open for him, and he wanted to say to him all of the things that he'd been feeling, how he missed the long conversations on Shabbat afternoons, and he missed reading with his dad. But he didn't know if Moshe could understand a single word that he was saying. So he opened his mouth and sang, I get diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy 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 die. And Moshe stopped and he looked at his son and he studied his face and he said, "Thank you, Benjamin." And Benjamin was shocked. "Dad, all you've been able to say is this song. You're speaking words, but all that's come out for the past week has been this song." And Moshe looked at his son and he told him all of what had happened in his experience in the woods. He told him about how he'd gotten lost and he heard this melody and it was so beautiful. And he told him it was so beautiful, he never wanted to forget it. And so he heard it and he listened to it and sang it all night long, all throughout his journey in the woods and on his way back home. And when he got back home to Rebecca and to Benjamin, and he told him, "This song, this melody, this nigun, it's the most beautiful thing I've heard, and it's the closest I've ever felt to God. And I was so afraid that if I didn't keep it going, it would be lost forever. But now that I know that you know it too, we can sing it together." And they sang, I get doom ba-dee die, I get diggy diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy die, I get diggy 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 die. We have so many beautiful traditions in Judaism that we share, lador vador, from one generation to the next. And that is how we create sacred community. We share them with our friends and our family, and we create a vibrant community. So I want you to think about the traditions that you have with your families and share those with the people around you. Boker Tov.
Boker Or.
We're going to go ahead and turn to page 6 for Aleinu. Is there anybody in here who has a November birthday? Anybody at all? You have a November birthday? Come on up. You can be an ark opener. Anyone else? Any November birthdays?
Come on out.
Okay. Well, I will come open the ark with you because my birthday's in November too. So we'll stand up for the Aleinu on page 6.
Nice. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei gdula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goye haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam kelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu koreim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Thank you very much. And we'll go ahead and take a seat. And I want you to think about anyone in your family or anyone that you know, people that you love and care for, and they might not be here physically anymore, but you can still feel them in your heart. And I want you to hold on to those names tight for a second. And right now, our Congregation Shalom community is remembering and commemorating the lives in the period of Shloshim, Muriel Kritzik, Jean Robertson, and Mindy Spitz. And if there's anyone that you're thinking of that you'd like to share with us, you can say them as my eyes meet yours. We'll stand together as a community for the words of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 7. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shmei rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayei uvyom echon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe Shmei Rabba Mevorach Leolam Lalnei Almaya. Yit Barach Vish Tabach Vit Pa'ar Vit Ramam Vit Naseh. Vit Hadar Vit Ale Vit Halal Shmei Dekudasha Barichu. Le'ela Minkol Birchata Veshirata. Tushbechata Venechemata. Da'amiran Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Osei Shalom B'mroma Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and together we say, Amen. And I'd like to turn it over to Brian Avner, our Director of Congregational Learning, for some announcements. You can have a seat.
Thank you, Rabbi Pazlowski and Miss Wendy, for leading us in a lovely service this morning. I'm going to make announcements. I'm going to make them quick. We're running a little bit over. If you have specialties in blocks C and D, instead of 11:05, go to like 11:07 when you switch, just so we can try and get a little bit of extra time for each of those in. Next Sunday, we're going to Rainbow Day Camp for a family education day. And even if it's a little bit cold next Sunday, we're going to bundle up. We're going to have a great time outside. Remind your grown-ups when you get picked up later today to sign up so we know you're coming next week to Rainbow Day Camp. Today after school, there is youth choir. If you're in the youth choir, please come meet in the sanctuary after school. On November 21st, that's 2 weeks from today, the next time we're here, we'll have some guests from Camp Interlaken who will be here to tell us about camp. So if you go to Camp Interlaken or thinking about Camp Interlaken, wear your Interlaken stuff. They'll be excited to see that. And if you want to hear about Jewish Summer Camp, they'll tell you about it next in 2 weeks. And a few weeks later, we'll have people from Azrui coming to tell us about Azrui, another camp. Hanukkah is also coming up. We only have one more Sunday that we're here in the building before Hanukkah. So you can tell your grown-ups if they need candles or a Chanukiah or anything else, tell them that the gift shop is open and that they can come in and get anything you might need for Hanukkah, which is coming up in 3 weeks. Now, we also have two very special guests I want to introduce before we wrap up with a closing song. So I want to invite Gal and Itai to come up. They are the Shinshins this year. For those of you who haven't met them or don't remember, Shinshins are our wonderful teens, high school graduates from Israel who come for the year and share their knowledge and themselves with us so we can get to know them. And I want to give them a very brief second to come over and introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. So I am Gal.
I'm Itai.
And we're both the Shinshins here, as Brian said. And we're really, really, really excited to be here and to meet you all. And we're looking forward to spend a lot of time with you over the year because we're here for the whole year. And that's it. We're so happy to be here.
Yeah, I believe we're going to have a lot of fun together as a community. And I hope we're going to see you all next time. And we're going to learn some more stuff about Israel and about Judaism and about how it is like to be an Israeli. So it's going to be a lot of fun for us together, guys. And thank you for inviting us today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, enjoy today.
Thank you. If you don't get to meet Gal and Itai today, you will meet them another time during the year. They'll come back on a few Sundays. And it's such a great opportunity not only to learn about Israel, but to get to know people from Israel. And because we can learn about Israel, I can tell you about Jerusalem or Tel Aviv or the Kinneret, but I can't tell you what it's like to grow up in Israel. So that's why it's so special that we get these chances to learn with Gal and Itai. With that, Miss Wendy, do we have a quick song we can wrap up with?
I'll go very quick. Pulling from Rabbi Pazlowski's story, we all have a voice. We are all able to change the world. We can all do it together. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. I have a voice. My voice is powerful. My voice can change the world. All our voices can change the world. When we work together, we can change the world.
Thank you. Boker Tov, everyone. Follow your teachers back to your class or wherever you are going next. K4, K5, you're staying here. Yeah, K4, K5, don't go anywhere.
Yay, you guys are sticking around.
Oh, not at all.